so lovely, because you meet the most wonderful network of people when you're actually out competing. And I think draw on that. You know, it doesn't hurt you perhaps to do something a good turn, like find out how many it is until then, the show jumping, because you know what, you bump into them again perhaps 6 months down the line, and they'll come and help me, I don't know, put my steps back on the trailer when I'm absolutely dead and can hardly drag my legs. So I think it's that really for me. Yeah. It's multi-layered, isn't it? It's never one single answer.
No, that's exactly it. It's always, and it's picking apart when someone comes to me and what have you, it's picking apart which of those bits are there and which aren't, or which are probably just operating in another way, but you're doing it just the wrong way round, or, you know, any of that kind of stuff, and picking out the key kind of elements that will make the difference. So yeah, cool.
I think it's planning for success. So that long-term planning you and I did, and that checklist for competitions, it's very easy once you're getting it right to think, right, boom, I've got it, I've nailed it. But I actually keep on doing it, because there are always little things that you can tweak. And I think it's, even if it's the same 3 things that are your weaknesses, you've got them at the front of your mind. So you keep on reminding yourself that, I don't know, when you're warming up in the dressage, that you're in your bubble. When you're warming up for your show jumping, ignore the shouty coach with the precocious child, because actually that jump's still yours when you're warming up, and they can go and do one. And cross country, actually just breathe and enjoy the sense of galloping across the countryside. You know, those 3 targets can be very simple, and you know, you can measure them for yourself, and the more technical element can come in your coaching, I think. I don't know, maybe you disagree.
No, I totally agree with that. And that is, you know, sometimes we focus so much on the technical and getting it right, and you're not going to get it right at a competition because you haven't embedded it enough in your training yet. Just because you could do it the other day in your lesson doesn't mean you're then going to be able to do it when there's all the other elements of competition going on. And so you need to have the things to focus on that make you feel good, because then you're more likely to implement the technical stuff, because your brain isn't so taken up by things. And I listened to a fabulous book. I love this book. It's called Bounce by Matthew Said. And the chapter I've literally just listened to is so true, because he talks about, I mean, I talk about unconscious competence in people that are really good at something, which is when they're able to just do it without having to think about it. It just happens. It's on automatic. Yeah. And there's a whole load of science into how and why that happens. But he was also adding an element to that by saying that because they've got that automatic piece, that therefore doesn't take up the brain space. Therefore, they're able to deal with the extra elements that come in, because that stuff is automatic. So they're able to deal with an extra element on top of it. Whereas as amateur riders or what have you, or if you're pushing up a level, or if you're doing something new, or, you know, you haven't got that stuff fully embedded yet, you add competition into the mix, and your brain's off trying to work out all the stuff around competition that's going on. It's not going to easily just bring that stuff back you were doing in your training, because it hasn't yet become unconsciously competent. So yeah, it's exactly like you say, you know, have the goals that you can focus on, and don't worry about the rest of it. It will come. And the thing is, so much is always dropping into our unconscious, that we don't realize we've learned it, because we're not thinking about that anymore. We're like, next bit. And we forget sometimes how much actually we can do, and what you are capable of.
Yeah, and the power, I always call it the power of the Post-it note, because you might be waiting for a meeting and you're frustrated that your colleagues are 5 minutes late. Well, instead of sitting there feeling jarred off that you're there on time with your mug of coffee, get a Post-it note, and I write down what my planning objectives are for that night's schooling and what I'm going to focus on. So it might be, I don't know, transitions within the gate, transitions between paces. I'll literally write that on a Post-it note, and I'll put warm up, transitions, and I will ride really hard for 20 minutes. I spend 10 minutes warming up, 20 minutes riding hard, 10 minutes stretching and cooling down. And actually, do you know what? That's good for me. It's good for the horse. And then another night, I might think about pole work, and I'll be thinking, what do I want out of it? So it might be using poles to get out of corners better. And I'll just make a little diagram and a note. And that's what I'll focus on. And instead of having 5 minutes feeling cross, you've got 5 minutes of planning time, and use it.
That is an absolutely brilliant tip. Thank you. I'm going to steal that one and put it on social media everywhere. The power of the Post-it note. I love that. That's absolutely brilliant. So yeah, but it's so true, isn't it? You can choose what you feel and think in that moment. And some people think that you can't, but you can. You just go, do I want to feel this way? No. Well, I'm going to do something about it then. But if you've got the tools to do something about it, it's easy. If you don't have the tools to do something about it, it's like knowing you want to achieve something but not knowing how to get there, then that gets frustrating and difficult. So it's just about tools, isn't it, really?
And you can, and the thing is, instead of going onto Facebook, then you can actually put it in your notes on your phone or on a post-it, and then put that in your jacket when you go to ride, and you've just got it there as a quick reminder, and off you go. And then if you're distracted by Henry standing at your stable door yapping to you for 10 minutes while you tack up, doesn't matter, quick check and then you're off. So yeah, that's a big one for me. Yeah,
absolutely love that. And I think probably a really good point to end on for us today, the power of the post-it note. I think that's what today's podcast is going to be named. I was going to name it Avoid Drains and Hold On to Radiators, but you know, the power of the post-it note is just much punchier, isn't it?
Has multiple uses. Very good for planning competitions as well, because you can just move them without rewriting it.
Yeah.
You've got multiple horses.
Anyone who's ever been a teacher or a trainer loves a good post-it note and a flip chart.
Yeah.
But post-it notes, they're so versatile, aren't they?
Yeah.
And they're so much fun because you can move them. People love tactile things. Yeah. They're brilliant. So and my whole business is planned out on post-it notes. Cool. Well, thank you so much, Anne-Marie. Is there anything you want to add or say or sum up with for anyone who's listening that has had loads of great golden nuggets out of what you've been saying in this?
Not at all, other than thank you very much for always being there for me and for transforming my view on not just riding but life in general, and giving me back the happiness that I have in my riding, because it's meant a lot. So thank you very much. It's been lovely to talk to you.
It's absolutely lovely hearing that. Thank you so much.
Pleasure. And
you know, it's not me, it's you that's got to do it, but I will always be there showing you which step to take. So you've got to take the step. Cool. Thank you so much. We're going to close up for today. And if anyone's got any questions for Anne-Marie, they can get hold of you in some way, maybe. What's the best way, do you think?
You can email me or Facebook. Happy to help anybody
on Facebook.
With, physical challenges to overcome. Quite happy to share what I've done.
Super.
Yeah.
All right. So you're going to get Facebook stalkers now. They're going to find you on Facebook and drop you messages. Well, thank you so much. And we're going to finish up for today. So goodbye.
Bye. Thank you.